by an organization.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Pleased to be part of an opportunity which I think we have in Texas that is unparalleled anywhere else in the nation, and frankly in this nation unparalleled anywhere else in the world, and that is participating in what I think is the last stronghold of what we have left with a full enterprise economy is right here in Texas. One of the things that I've observed in this 4.5 years of being Secretary of State is the opportunity to see what occurs in other states, see where we are in relative position to those states. Quite frankly, Texas is in the forefront for one simple reason. And don't let them tell you it's oil and gas. There's one simple reason for it, and that's because we have a government which has a respect for its authority, and the people still have control over their government. That control is expressed primarily in Texas, at least, by a constitution which, albeit is over 100 years old, still reflects what was the needs of the people then. I think are still the needs of the people, and that is the government be limited in its power over people. In 1876, the people of Texas said that they had had too much government, and they put strict limits on the power of the state government. Spending limits, the power of the budget, had to have a balanced budget. That has been a 100-year tradition in Texas that makes our municipal bonds, our water district bonds, our school district bonds, our mosquito control district bonds. Now, y'all don't have any of those out in El Paso, so you do know what I'm talking about, but you do have a mosquito. We must have brought it on an airplane from Houston. Those bonds in the smallest political subdivision in Texas have higher ratings than the bonds of the financial center of the United States, New York City. They are held in high regard by all investors. There's one reason for it. We have credible government, we have controlled government, and the people, I think, have benefited by that. I know that the energy issue is one of the critical issues, and as Attorney General, I think that there is no person, with the possible exception of the governor, that can have a greater impact on the future of the business climate in Texas. The Attorney General of this state, were he to choose to do so, can institute lawsuits that would effectively eliminate Texas business community and its vitality. And as you know, this has occurred in other states. It's sometimes done with the excuse of environmental protection on the one hand, but frankly, we saw enough of environmental protection, I think, and the ridiculousness of some of those pursuits when we saw airplanes that were forbidden to land in New York City because of some pretended threat to the hearing of citizens who live near that airport. When a simple test would have revealed, as it ultimately did reveal, that those concerns were not well-founded, that the Concorde made less noise than other jets that regularly go in and out of the city. I think that that type of environmental protection, were it to be adopted by an Attorney General in this state, would be a calamity. It would be ruinous of the business climate. We've seen what's happened in California, where because of severe regulatory problems, one of the major corporations of this country withdrew its investment there because of the fruitlessness of their efforts to expand and grow. I think if that were to occur in Texas, it would not hurt just that particular area. It hurts all of Texas because it represents an attitude. A recent article in The Economist magazine, which is printed in London, pointed out that in all the world, America is the place where the most economic freedom exists, and in all of America, Texas has the greatest abundance of economic freedom. There's a simple reason for it: state government and the attitude of state governmental leaders. We have the same federal laws that apply here as they do in New York. The difference is the attitude of state government and how it impacts the business community. I think it's important that we have someone in that office who has a concern and a philosophy that respects the relationship between government and the people. frankly, my opponent does not share, I know Dr. Banks, the same concern, and certainly not the same philosophy. My opponent's position is very clear. He supported a new constitution which would have brought annual sessions of the legislature, full-time sessions of the legislature. If you like what you see today in the federal Congress, you could have then seen it in Austin in the Texas legislature. If you like more regulations, you would have gotten it. And I think that's a distinguishing difference between my candidacy and my opponent's candidacy. My opponent is son of a father with a well-known name. Quite frankly, I think is trying to bring off a election which will be based on the fact that people remember his father's name. I'm running for Attorney General based on my record. The record that I present to you is one which is, I think, attentive to El Paso. First of all, as Secretary of State, first thing as a lawyer I knew was that oftentimes, any of you happen to be lawyers or deal with lawyers, I'm sure you may not like the thought of it, but lawyers sometimes wait till about 1 minute. I have to call the Secretary of State's office to get a name reservation. Doggone, how many times have you called a government office and had the door closed on you just before you got there, 5 minutes after 5, and they're all gone, sorry, we shut down. Catch us tomorrow. And not selling a product. Those of you who have to sell products, you'll stay open 30 minutes extra. But what we've done at the Secretary of State's office, when I was there, was to hold that office. We have name requests for my lawyers. We hold the office open an hour later each day, not by keeping everybody there an hour later, but we have 1 or 2 girls who will come in an hour later each morning and stay an hour later each evening. And therefore, we give El Paso a full 8 hours worth of Secretary of State's service for your full 8 hours worth of tax. And we're giving you all the government you pay for. I don't know if that was what you wanted or not, but we thought that's what you ought to have. But anyway, that's just a point that I stress. Other issues in this campaign, I think, will include crime, what you intend to do, what proposals you intend to make. Yesterday, I endorsed or asked for the people to vote for the First, Third, and Seventh Amendment, which is in the election held today. The First Amendment being the expansion of the courts, of the Court of Criminal Appeals, so that they could handle and dispatch the appeals of criminal cases. The third one is the additional denial of bail to people who commit violent crimes with deadly weapons after having been out on bail for a prior felony. Those 2 measures, I think, will have some impact on the velocity of crime, the violence of crime area. The third amendment that I supported was number 7, which refers to disqualification of judges, and I think that it gives broader authority to this Judicial Qualifications Commission to remove judges who are indicted for felonies, which would have pertained to the O.P. Carrillo case and would have pertained to the Don Yarber case. For those reasons, I made those positions. I'll be taking more definitive statements on the various issues as the campaign goes on. I think that you'll find that it will be a thoughtful statement, a responsible statement about the issues and responsibilities of the Office of Attorney General. I was an Assistant Attorney General, as you mentioned in my introduction. I had 3 years there, and I think I know the office, like I know what it should be doing and how to do it. From consumer protection to environmental protection to just carrying out the very weighty, responsible operation of one of the largest law firms in Texas with over 100 lawyers. What I'm trying to do is to ask you to support me for that office. I'm filing my job application with you. I want to be your lawyer in Austin. I'd like to form a partnership between Chief Law Enforcement Officer in Texas with the people of Texas. And I believe that we have the ability to implement some ideas, and I think each person brings a certain imprint to an office. One of those things was this business of serving El Paso because of the time differential. One of the things I like to do as Attorney General is to, and as a private attorney, I think that you who are in the business community can recognize that your lawyer gives you better value for his legal dollar by keeping you out of trouble, advising you before you get into trouble. And And that's what I'd like to do as Attorney General of Texas, is to represent those clients, those 220 some odd agencies that we've created by our legislature, and keep them advised how to keep out of trouble, to avoid litigation, to stay out of the courthouse. I think that would be a greater value than any other thing that you might do as Attorney General, is to be a lawyer in the full sense of the word, representing your client, keeping him out of trouble, saving those tax dollars for either holding down taxes or building better roads or improving our schools or whatever. Let's don't waste those dollars on needless lawsuits that could have been avoided by lawyers or Attorney General who's willing to take the time to be out there on the front line with those agencies to keep them out of trouble. Those are some of the ideas that I'm going to be expanding on in the course of the campaign. I think that those of you who do not know me and or my opponent, I wish that you would acquaint yourselves with our records, our public record, and I feel like that upon that acquaintance, you will endorse my candidacy. I think I'm going to, well, I ask you right now for your support, and I'll promise you one thing: I'll make you proud of your Attorney General. Thank you. I really appreciate any questions. Frankly, one of the things I've done during the campaign the last 2 weeks is go around the state. I've already talked longer than I intended to here. I'd rather ask what problems you perceive, and frankly, after being up in the Panhandle, I can give you a quick rundown on what they're talking about up there. They're mad at the regulations on HEW for rural medical care. Here we spend millions of dollars with Hill-Burton funds to provide accessible medical care facilities in rural Texas and rural U.S., only to have the HEW turn around here a couple of weeks ago and issue a bunch of regulations which are going to shut down most of the hospital facilities. That's part of the regulatory problem we've got in this country. Yes, sir.
First of all, Mr. White, we appreciate you getting up awfully early this morning and coming out here to deal with us today. It's nice to have you here in El Paso with us. The economy of El Paso is greatly dependent upon farming, and our valley is irrigated by water from the Federal Water Reclamation Project. The Attorney General's office have any role in the 160-acre limitation that the Secretary of Agriculture is, under 1902 law, I think it is, that the Secretary of Agriculture is trying to put back in effect?
Let me say this: as Attorney General, I'm going to be doing two things. I'm going to be your lawyer up there. I'm going to look at those issues first and make sure we're running a good law office. The second thing I'm going to do is the political office. I'm going to attend to the politics of Texas. And one of those is protecting the people of Texas from what I think is unreasonable regulation at the federal level. Right now, I'm not familiar with the issue that you have presented to me, and I don't have a position on it. I would like the opportunity to review it and learn more about it. To give you an example, maybe I can tell you by example rather than by direct answer to your question, in regard to energy. This is something I have a little more familiarity with. Right now, the federal proposals that were made by the incumbent administration are such that it would devastate the state of Texas. We heard a lot about fairness. There was no fairness except for the Northeast. And let me tell you, the whole test of this thing is, and I'm not here to argue about interstate regulation of natural gas. The point is this: if interstate regulation of natural gas is good for the country, as they say it is, then there's something else that's good for the country. That's interstate regulation of coal. And until you hear the senators from Pennsylvania, the congressmen from Pennsylvania, come out for interstate regulation of coal prices, then don't talk about fairness on interstate regulation of gas prices. The price of coal in 1973 was around $8 a ton, FOB, Pennsylvania, anywhere. The price of coal today in Pennsylvania is over $36 a ton. And let me tell you what they're going to do. They're going to take our natural gas at regulated prices and sell us coal at unregulated prices. And that isn't fair. As Attorney General, I'll fight that politically as well as legally to the last court and the last and highest place in the land. And that's my position on that. And let me say this: I'm not going to quit fighting about that type of foolish and unfair regulation. There are other instances, and this HEW regulation is very clearly, I think, one of them, where somebody either legally or politically has to stand up for Texas and the taxpayers in this country. frankly, we're playing the role of fools to let bureaucrats impose regulations without any fear of public. They need to be publicly scolded for some of the things they've done in the interest of their own gratification and their own power-building programs. And I'm not afraid to do it. I'll be out there on the front lines talking about these things and letting people know what's happening in their government. And that doesn't just hold true for the federal government. Our own state government gets off base sometimes, and that's where I'd like to be in there advising that state agency, Mister, I think you're legally off base here. And keep them out of that foolish, senseless, never-ending stream of regulations that really don't do what the legislature intended, and all they do is bind the hands of the people for their own free activities. I answered your question too long. Does that give you an idea of what kind of attorney general I want to be?
Very good idea.
Okay.
I had a question. I'm a consumer, and I like for the consumer to be protected. How would you define how far the state ought to go in consumer protection?
I'm going to enforce the law. As an assistant attorney general, I filed one of the first consumer protection suits. It was filed in Texas. It was a big one. It arose out of some investigations that surrounded the home improvement frauds in Dallas, Texas. Home improvement frauds that were being practiced on the elderly people who had taken out second liens or given second liens on home improvements, and they were being charged as high as 26, 28% interest, effective interest. It was a subterfuge in which they gave them very poor quality work, if they even finished the work. But all the same, they sold it to a holder in due course who had the right to go in and foreclose for non-payment. And we brought this to a stop, and I think it fairly stated was the correct course of conduct. I don't believe in going out and assaulting whole industries because of one or two people who may be violating the law. I think, frankly, the business community, the honorable business community, is harmed in the marketplace by the few who will take advantage of an unwitting public. I'll prosecute the law, but I don't feel like that. Well, let me say it another way. I'm not going to be in the game of playing politics on that issue. I'm a consumer too. I don't like to be ripped off. I'll tell you right now, talking about this energy, getting back to that. I paid an electricity bill the other day that was bigger than my house payment. And somewhere along the lines, there's got to be something done about that. And I don't know what it is today, but hopefully during the course of the campaign, I'll be able to develop some plans and programs that have some impact upon that very critical subject. Now, y'all don't live in Austin. Everybody tells you how great Austin is. And it is nice. Boy, they got some electricity rates down there that's strangling. It's a peculiar circumstance that arose out of a breach of contract. Yeah.
Isn't the electric company owned by the city of Austin?
Yeah, it is, but it's the gas supplier that's the problem there. It's a double problem. Let me say this.
They tell us that's the problem here too.
Well, let me say this. They're going up awfully fast everywhere, it seems like. I'll match the speed of the increase with anybody.
Let me ask you a question,
Yeah.
sir. That's more at home here with we in the border city. Every day, you see a vehicle from Juarez come over here with a dangling fender and spewing out the poison out of the tailpipe. No lights, this, that, and the other. And in many instances, they'll have an accident with one of our residents here in El Paso. Well, in most all cases, and this is not exaggerated, they have no insurance and whatnot, and there is no recourse at all that the citizen of El Paso can take on it. The cop will come out, investigate it, he goes back to Juarez, and you're just out. There's no way in the world you can get any compensation for that. On the other hand, if we go to Juarez, and don't get me wrong, I'm all in favor of being a good neighbor and this, that, and the other, and we have an accident, that vehicle is promptly confiscated, and if you're lucky, you'll be lucky if you're not thrown in jail. There's something that can be done legally about this. And I ask this because every time I go to any type of a public assembly, these are the things that the El Pasoans are asking. Can't we do something about it?
I think your state representatives and your state senators are the ones that you need to address that question to. Frankly, the law has to be changed in order to get it done. They're the ones that can change the law. That's one thing the Attorney General I'm not going to do is change the law. I'll interpret it fairly. I'm going to administer the ones that pass.
Do you know what the law is? I've heard that the law really gives us us the authority to do it, and we will push it.
And that's
Confiscate their bid.
from a personal note, and I don't think I've ever been hit by anybody that had insurance, but, I thought I was unique.
But you had a report.
Well, I had uninsured motorist coverage, and I had comprehensive collision insurance. I frankly don't know the answer for you. The proposals are always put out each session about mandatory coverage to protect the system. You can't get your license plate if you show your insurance policy, so that never has passed. I don't have an answer for you.
Do you see any expansion or decrease in the size of the offices or what have you? I don't know what offices the Attorney General has there, but
Right.
Yeah.
I know your consumer division has done a good job. They've been active. They work with the Better Business Bureau people, but they've not been harassing people. But he hasn't been. The office has been active.
No, I think one of the things the Secretary of State I'm proudest of was the ability to increase the level of service from our office to the public generally. At the same time, the legislature over the 4.5, almost 5 years that I was Secretary of State appropriated about $20 million to the office. We did this increase in service, and at the same time returned $4 million of that $20 million back to the Treasury. I'm not a bureaucrat, and I'm not a politician. And all I can say is I don't feel like it's because they appropriate the money to you that you have to spend it. I think you go do your job, try to improve on the quality of the service you're giving to the people, but don't spend the money just because you have it. Let me say this, that's not a very popular proposal among bureaucrats. You'll notice that the federal government was embarrassed the other day. They had $13 billion they didn't know how they were going to get rid of. They ever heard about giving it back? Well, I believe in giving it back. As far as the office is concerned, we utilize toll-free watch lines, and I would be looking at that as a very cost-effective way to improve the service of the Attorney General's office, because frankly, El Paso, it needs an office here. And I think it was wise that they have one located here. But at the same time, there are a lot of people that live between here and Austin, and El Paso and Austin, neither one are very accessible to. And I think that the citizens generally can be better served possibly with a toll-free watch line as an additional statewide impact, not just a local El Paso impact. As far as cutting down on the number of people in office, I don't think it's realistic to say that can be done. I do say this, I want to make sure that the lawyers that work for the Attorney General are working lawyers. They'll have full-time jobs. They won't be any early afternoon jobs.
I have two related questions, I think. When then Attorney General Hill was newly elected, he was pushing very hard for the Consumer Protection Bill, which is now an act. And I think it was mainly through his desire that the law was introduced, the act was introduced and passed. Did I get the suggestion a little while ago that you wouldn't be actively looking, trying to pass such, or introduce such any act?
No.
And number two, would you give us whatever opinions or reactions you have to class action?
Oh, you're talking, all right, I don't think that right now, I'm not aware of any crying need for additional legislation in that particular field, consumer protection.
I mean, I don't know about any field.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now where I'm.
Enforce the law. I got the suggestion that you didn't want to introduce it.
No, sir.
Push for it.
If you'll look at my service as Secretary of State, we have introduced and passed some 40 new election laws. Every one of them was designed, at least, and let me say this, designed to improve the program. We had to drop back on a couple. We weren't 100% successful in improving. We just thought we were. We changed a couple after we saw they didn't work as well as we thought they did. I'm the kind of guy that's willing to stay around and admit we're not perfect. And where we see we fail, I'll go up there and say, look, we've got to change this. No, I've got some ideas about introduction of legislation in the criminal law area. I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of things that we are doing. We're spending a lot of money on criminal law, both in enforcement and punishment. And I'm not too sure that we don't need to reassess how we're spending. The young people commit most of the crime. That's statistics show it. Everybody understands. Well, where are we failing? Are we failing in the schools? I'd like to let us go back and see where we can improve these things. I'm talking about criminal law and what changes need to be elect leaders. You know, we spend more time on driver education than we do on voter education. And frankly, we need to do both. We got 18-year-olds graduate from high school, they're eligible to vote. And I don't want to discourage them from voting. I think it's wrong for people to say, well, we don't want those folks voting, we don't want that vote voting. We want them to be educated. I think there's some things we can do here to improve that. Yes, sir, we'll be introducing legislation. The difference here, the legislation you have on the books, you've got some strong laws up there. Parents patriot. I think the person who enforces those laws, the way in which they're enforced, violent order. I think you'll find there will be a contrast in the leadership, both in direction and philosophy, between me and my partner.
Class action.
I'm not opposed to filing class action suits where they're justified. Let me say this, I won't do it for political purposes or out of political motivation. Yeah.
Something popped into my mind while we were talking about auto insurance and so forth. One thing bothered me a little bit. The insurance company goes to the state, and the state sets the insurance rates, which have come out extremely high. They said, well, we had a 10% increase in so-and-so class vehicle, therefore give us a 10% increase. But there's no accountability. As I understand, the insurance companies spend about 75 to 85% of their income on advertising. It would look like to me that they would not be regulated, or they should be held accountable such as public utilities. In other words, how do they invest their money if the state is going to control the rate?
All right, that is a question which could be, I think, properly dealt with legislatively. I don't think it's really an issue in this campaign, but I'll assure you one thing, that the state of Texas, I think, direction of regulation is healthy. The direction of regulation of business in this state is very healthy, and a good example, I think, is maybe the Texas Aeronautics Commission, contrasted with the Civil Aeronautics Board. Southwest Airlines is a good example. You've got one of these circumstances where competition has been inhibited by government regulation. And who paid the bill? The people paid the bill. It's a lot cheaper to fly from El Paso to Dallas today than it was a year ago. And let me say something else. All those people who are in that same market are doing better today than they did a year ago. I think it's a healthy competition is what the free enterprise system is all about. You got more people flying. They've opened the door a little wider and more people getting on the plane. But as far as the regulation problem you're talking about, it would have to be dealt with either in the insurance agency. The Attorney General really doesn't have any authority to tell these people within their discretion, as long as they're within their discretionary area, that they can't do so. Unless it's illegal or outside of their authority, their express authority, legislation created.
I have one other question. How do you look at the bar association? I'm not an attorney, but y'all, I mean, I always been kind of confused whether it's really kind of a quasi part of the state government. I mean, is it independent profession like the rest of us, or?
I haven't had time to think about that. No, I think really what you've got is a degree of the government's requiring certain standards of various professions, tempered by the degree of impact they have over people's lives generally. And it's the same thing, you don't want a medical profession which doesn't have standards. I don't think you want a legal profession that doesn't have standards. And I think that what you do is see a different series of standards applied to various professions depending upon how the public generally requires or demands their services. A doctor, you don't need them until you get sick. Well, when you get sick, you need them right now. You don't want to have to go over there and figure out, well, is this one here, what kind of, or he just happened to hold himself out to be a doctor today. That's the reason for those standards. And I think those are proper standards. I think they're designed for the ultimate protection of the average citizen.
I was thinking, more in terms of with the bar association or the bar, the relationship, whether it was really kind of a wing of the state government or not.
In some respects it is. In some respects it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you very much.
That's work of you.
We appreciate Mr. White's being here with us this morning. We thank you. This is the first of a series of meetings the Government Relations Committee plans to have. It's going to hold
So that's all I have to hear.
We can,
I just thought that I was very honored by the invitation to come and speak to you all today. And I really don't know the format or how much time I have or anything of that, but I would like to take just a few moments to talk to you and in turn you talk to me. Because I'm trying very, very hard to establish a well-rounded, well-appreciative rapport with my chamber. I think that we have several things going for us. Is first of all our mutual love and affection for the community, and secondly a sincere desire to do what we consider is right. But yet I have found through 12 years of my legislative duties and being elected to office that the chamber seems to be that which is aloof from politics, that which is conservative, that which is leaving things as a status quo, that which is racist, that which is rich, and that which takes care of only the rich interests. And I'm not being insulted, I'm just being as candid as all of you know that I always am. And I want to take this opportunity to establish the fact that I have been educated since I've been involved with you and since I've grown up a little bit. And one thing I have noticed since I've matured or gotten older is that the questions are still simple, but the solutions seem so difficult now. They were a lot more simpler when I was 18, 19, and 20 years old. You know, I had an answer to everything, just that fast. And I'd like to talk to you here, and then invite questions and discussions and insults and everything else that comes along with being a representative of the people, because you're representing people and they're so unreasonable, as all of you know. And I am a veteran, I guess you'd say, experienced in the legislative duties. I'd like to just talk at you and then hear some comments. You know, back there when I was first elected, I introduced a bill that we call the minimum wage bill of Texas. I personally call it the Mexican right to eat law. And then some people call it the minimum wage. But I introduced it and I passed it. I passed that bill in 1969. And that was in spite of labor. Labor was against it because it needed a few more years to unionize. But labor was against it, but so was my chamber. Without talking to me, without asking me questions, without inviting me, all of a sudden I received a resolution in the mail that we're against your bill. And I didn't know why. And that's just a small gesture, but through the years we've established a little understanding, because a bunch of you guys are my personal friends, and that's why. I get a real charge out of the local bar association getting offended on who Governor Briscoe appoints to be the judge of the courts that I create, or the courts the legislature creates. But yet, where is the bar association when I'm running for office? Where is the bar members in campaign contributions? Where are they whenever the issue presents itself as to being an elected official or winning or losing? So therefore, they are where they should be when it comes time to appoint judges on the outs, passing their resolutions and their memos. And it's ugly to say that, but it's the truth. We've got to understand that. And it's just been in recent years when I have had a a conversational tone with the chamber. It used to be where we had certain people that were directors here, but where there was just no way to talk, no way. After all, who is this young upstart that just happens to have been born and raised in El Paso all his life? We've come in late, we know what this city needs, that kind of thing. We have 327 state agencies in Texas. We probably have 6,000 appointees to these state agencies. And yet, I don't know where they all are. But yet, those are the people that run your state other than in 140 days. So every 2 years, people like myself run the state. But the rest of the time, in those 2 years, it's your state agencies, your commissions, your boards. And I don't know where they all are, but I think the chamber should. I think we ought to get everyone appointed to these boards and these commissions to give us some input, to give us some voice. But rare is the occasion when I hear from an entity saying, "Hey, Tati, how about seeing that so-and-so gets appointed to this job? Well, we can try it." We have so much going for us here in El Paso, and we more or less like to be masochistic because we like to say, well, we're the stepchild of Austin, Texas. Well, it's self-imposed. We like it that way, I guess. And yet I'm inviting you to help me participate. I participate here in local stuff and things. I'm inviting you for you to participate with me when it comes to the state of Texas. Gentlemen, we have more rapport with New Mexico at times than we have with Texas. We have a great deal of money that should come to this part of the state that doesn't because we don't play the political game. Now call it what you want to. I mean, it's not the way it should work, but it's the way it does work, so I don't care what rules we're under as long as I know the rules. We have a lot of state agencies that need to come to El Paso that don't come because we don't quite know how to invite them. And I'm just part-time. I wish I were like the guys that I want to be like when I grow up. Where you can dedicate 24 hours a day to politics, go make speeches in Amarillo and Corpus Christi and all that. And, a lot of people do that on $600 a month. Bill Barnes became a wealthy man on $400 a month. I just don't have that talent. Even with my brother being my financial advisor. And I have to work. I got to work 12 hours a day just to keep my end of the stick with my very expensive wife and children. So I just can't do it all. And I doubt if there's any representative or senator that we've had from this part of the country that can. So I'm asking you and reporting to you that you be amazed and impressed as to the influence and the power that we have in the Texas Capitol, as long as we have some backing and some shall we say, lasting effect. As long as we're not flaky, that we're there when they need us, when we want them, when they're giving us something, and then we're against them when they don't. And I'm asking you to help me participate in this. You teach me, and in turn, listen to what I have to say once in a while. You're just for an example. Now, I don't know if it's in the chamber or not, but this public education bill that really and truly affects the El Paso Independent School District, the Isleta Independent School District, the Pavemans, the Tornillo, the Cantillo, the Anthony, Dale City, Sierra Blanca. There's a bunch of school districts around here that I didn't even know we had until we started going into it. All right, not one superintendent either went themselves or sent an ambassador to educate us on which it was better for El Paso. But they're the first ones to react that it's not right, that it's wrong, that it's this and that. I'm no expert on public education financing. the daily attendance. Then finally it went kaput, you know, it went down the drain, and we had a special session. Now, at that time, then Isleta and El Paso sent an ambassador over there. But it was too late, really. Because all the homework and all the theory and all that had already been done during the session. So then we break for 2 weeks, we go back for the session. Well, it's already done, you know, we're anxious to get home. So it really was too late. But those are the examples that I'm talking about. Those are the things that we just sort of need a little more input and a little more push to exert the influence that I'm reporting to you that we have. It's there. Look at the amazing things that we've done so far. Look at that Texas Tech Medical School that we'll have here. And we are going to steal the Texas Tech Medical School, I guarantee you. It will be here. There's no way that these learned, well-supported, well-educated doctors that are now at such an age where they've made their money and they want to give to society, and they want to teach, and there's no way they're going to move to Lubbock. What in the world's there in Lubbock for them to retire to, you know? You know, it's human nature. They will come to El Paso and they'll live here and we'll get it. I call it the mini medical school now, but we'll get it. We're going to have the whole junior class there this coming year. We'll get our medical school here. Look at that human development center that we created over here, where all of our men who are retarded will not have to leave El Paso to go to the state schools. They'll be right here with their people, with their folks. You know, our highway things are moving well. We don't have a board of regents. The University of Texas, we don't have one. The issue is that if we really wanted one, we would probably have one. But do we? Look at it through my side. Do I really want a regent? Because then all the goodies that go to the University of Texas at El Paso, he'll take the credit for, right? This place I can't. And Artie Templeton can't. And we're applauded. That boy Artie, that baby Tati, you know, well, if you had our own regent, then he would be taking the credit. Well, I don't care, you know, but I'm just giving you these things because they're all true. We did a lot of things, you know, a lot of things that the chamber isn't aware of. All this crime package that the governor passed, speed trial, all that sounds good. Get a man in court within 120 days from the day he's been indicted, or the case will be dismissed. And then you couple that law with a law that says that a guy who commits a crime with a pistol cannot get probation. And it sounds great, all for law enforcement, applause. Right? Okay. But you couple the two, and you won't have any more guilty pleas. There's no way that a client is going to plead guilty when he knows he's going to get time. Even if he pleads guilty, he cannot get probation because he committed a crime with a pistol. So he's going to try the case. Hopefully the district attorney will screw up or something and you'll have a reversible error during the guilt or innocent stage, and that way he might be found not guilty. Now you couple that with the fact that he's got to go to trial in 120 days, and you don't have that many courtrooms, or you don't have that many district attorneys to try these cases. But the populace, the people, aren't advised about that. And whether it's the chamber's business or not, I don't know, but I think it should be. What effect will it have on our economy? What effect would it have? Then you throw in our jail, where you can't keep them in jail anyway. And so where are we? Well, let me tell you where we are. We are making money for the Tatis Antiesteves because the more crime, the more people are going to hire me to defend. But yet it's people like myself who, you know, as a criminal defense lawyer, that's how I make a living. They always say, well, Tati is for the accused, you know, to give you better breaks. Well, that's not really true. Because if I was thinking of my pocketbook, I would pass every criminal law ever enacted, because everything would be a crime. Every one of you would have to have a lawyer to go to the bathroom. You know, everything would be a crime. So it's that sort of rapport or conversation that we need to have, that we need to talk about. Because all of you do not run for office. All of you can decide things that are good on the merits. I have to consider two things: that which is good on the merits and that which is politically sound, and commingle the two. And the purpose, I guess, I was thinking about that when I was driving over here. I says, what am I going to tell the chamber? What address am I going to give them? And I decided, well, I think I'll just talk about my problems and about the way we do in El Paso as distinguished from other states. Let's talk a little bit more, and then I'll open it up for the way the political strata is. The way all right, now, this last week, my wife and I and my little boy went to the Dallas Cowboys Washington Redskins football game. And I was invited by Senator Brackline. Senator Bill Brackline is my colleague. And so I got there, and Senator Brackline then put me up at the Holiday Inn, the downtown Holiday Inn. And as I walked in there, I went to register. And then I took out my American Express card to give to the clerk. They said, oh no sir, that's already been taken care of by Senator Brackline. And then Senator Brackline said, hey, give me your tickets, by the way. How'd you come over here? I said, well, I put my tickets on my American Express. Well, give me your thing. I'm going to reimburse you for that. And then we went out to dinner that night. And then the next day we sat at Coors distributing boxing. It was a gas for my little boy, to sit up there and you watch the game, and then you did see it all, so you look up and there's the replay, and Roger Staubach was right there. And, I even thought it was Gene Autry or Roger. I was thrilled. It was a very beautiful day for us. And so I'm going to be indebted to Bill Brackline in any way that I can go for him that's not going to injure my district. I'm going to vote his way. The only thing I'm going to have in the back of my mind is, will it adversely affect El Paso? And if it doesn't, I'm going to vote for it. Well, how do we do it? I know Senator Brackline didn't pay for that. I know he didn't. I know they have something over there that they call Good Government League. Is it chamber? Well, not in the bylaws, it's not chamber. But it is chamber-oriented. I can tell you that. And same with Fort Worth, same with Houston, and same with Austin. Now what happens in El Paso is that there are those who will say, hey, Toddy, that starts out from me, it's Toddy. They say, hey, Toddy, listen, when you get these big shots come on, just give me a call, and I'll set you up for supper over there at the El Paso Club. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm a member of the El Paso Club. I'm not going to call somebody to pay for my meal and my colleagues at the El Paso Club. Maybe there's others that ran for my office that got defeated that might do it. But I'm not going to do that. They're going to come, and I'm going to take them to the Juarez racetrack, and I'm going to take them to Martinez, and I'm going to take them to the El Paso Cup, and I'm going to take them to Santa Teresa, I'm going to take them to the places that I go to, and I'm going to pay for it. Because I'm not going to ask anybody to do that. I can't. It's just not my thing. But I think if the chamber appreciates these problems, the chamber might make some kind of, shall we call it, an ad hoc committee, and I never have known what that means, but an ad hoc committee to try to take care of these little things. Because they're most important, gentlemen. Arlie Templeton flies in a couple of state senators that help us with our appropriations. Well, he flies them in. I say that. Well, it's really the University of Texas airplane that comes in on some kind of business, like accounting or something or other, and they go to a football game, and they go here and they go there. And, well, that's all nice and handy, but that's just a one-shot thing. I always dreamed of establishing some kind of a committee that you all approve of and everything else that will go along with this kind of entertainment for colleagues, no one else. For colleagues. Now, that is political. Then the other is merit. Then the other is that I'm asking you to feel free to talk to me, to tell me what you think, and give me a chance to debate it and to argue with you and to talk about it. It's gotten better. I hope I'm not talking down to you. But in the 12 years that I've got, that I have been an elected official, I'm telling you, it's increased 500% the good, the relationship that you all are having with your elected officials. It's excellent. It's 500% better than it used to be, but it can still be better. It can still be better because we could be consistent. We could be consistent. We have all these problems. You start talking about medical malpractice. You know, that's been in vogue now for about 3 to 4 years. So all of a sudden you see the Texas Medical Society, the El Paso Medical Society involved in politics. It's so healthy, it's so good. Well, I'm wondering whether or not after the malpractice crisis is over, whether it's going to revert back to the way it was before the malpractice, where the doctor's attitude was, politics is dirty, we don't get involved. Maybe so. Maybe so. But they're sure being noisy now. And they're accomplishing their goals. Why? Because it's input to your elected officials. And that's sort of what I would just like to address you today. And forgive me if you think I'm being insulting. I don't mean to be. I believe I'm talking to my friends. I believe I'm talking to my peers. I believe I'm talking to people that have this community at heart just like I do. Because I plan to live here whether I win or lose or draw. Raise my kids and survive in this area where I was born and raised. And I think you feel the same way. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you might have, however up or down you want to make it. Thank you very much for your attention.
Years I've gone to the Chamber of Commerce down to Austin, to a El Paso Day in Austin. Would we better spend that money on an ad hoc committee such as you suggested? It seems to me that we get about 6 big wigs and a lot of clerks at that dinner. And then the next day we go around shaking hands. Wouldn't we be better off if we spent that money as you suggested?
Well, if that is our choice, Bill, to either have that or an ad hoc committee, if the only money the ad hoc committee is going to have is that which we all spend going to Austin, well, then I'd rather have it been used to go to Austin. Because at least there's one big flush, one big flurry, where it shows that people are interested enough to travel 600 miles to go to their state capital to honor their legislators. But because I like that El Paso Day. I like it a lot. Yes, I do. I think it's very effective. It really is. It's even better. Like San Antonio and Dallas. Well, they're there every month. You know, they're there all the time honoring their legislators. Where it gets to be a pain in the to the legislators. You know, but us 600 miles away. I mean, it's a real. I like it. It helps us a lot. Yes.
You mentioned Dallas. How many other districts you probably invited in last year or two?
Oh, all of them. Well, yeah, that's Pate McKnight, that Wildcatters that out of Tyler, Texas. I've been invited there a lot, but I don't go. I don't go because I can't leave my business. But I have been invited. Carlos Truano from Corpus Christi. They set up a whole weekend where we were all invited. We were all being comped on this hotel, our children. And then they had a bunch of boats where I'm not asking you to bring a scaredy lake, but they had a bunch of these boats, and they took everybody deep sea fishing. Now I'm talking as many senators that wanted to go. I mean, there's 31 of us. I mean, it was the whole weekend was comped. I'm talking about Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and return Monday. Deep sea fishing for 2 days, dinners, banquets, and all that kind of thing. Now I don't know who paid for that. But I know that my invitation said Corpus Christi Chamber and sent a little brochure, you know, that shows all the things, the great things they got going, like our Mount Franklin, the flagpole, and all that. You know, but it was very impressive. Now, whether I went or not, that's not the point. It's just that Carlos, you know, invited me and said, "Come on down. We're looking forward to see you." Well, we don't have that here, and I don't know whether we should or not. But I'm just saying that it's something that we need to think about. Does that answer your question, Jim?
Monty, what happens when you have accepted some of those things or some of the other guys have?
Oh, well, then they don't. Oh, of course not. No.
And they don't vote, or they don't.
No, but there's always the next time. There's always the next
no
time.
problem from that standpoint.
No. The lobby is much more sophisticated than that. The lobby works on your character. The lobby works on, God, let's really get him to where it's going to really break his heart if he doesn't vote for us. You see, and it works. You know, it really does work. And that's all it is. It's lobbying. But it's sort of me lobbying, you understand? It's sort of, I'm the lobbyist. The chamber is just sort of behind me. Just the sponsor, as we call it. But I'm issuing the invitations, I'm inviting the people, I'm doing all this, and then of course the chamber is right there to put the bill and to come through with the smiles and the company and all that. See? But there's no hidden meaning to it. I mean, it's open and obvious, and you learn a lot about your own district. I remember a big fight that we had 5 years ago, the shale dredging. Remember what they had over there, Mac? People that were dredging shales in order to build roads and all that, and then the environmentalists came in and said, well, what do I care about that? You know, really, as far as, if you're narrow, as far as a senator from El Paso. You know, but then, of course, I'm an environmentalist too, a regional one. You know, but I was thinking about it, and then, but at that time, the senator who was there had voted with us and really gone on the limb for our junior college money. You know, he really came through from that area. So I decided to give him a vote on the side that he wanted me to vote on. Well, I don't know if it hurt El Paso. I don't think so. Does that answer your question? But it doesn't work that way. You know, the lobby doesn't work by the plain white envelope with the cash and all that. It really doesn't. Let me tell you the way it works. You see, your little virgin politician has just been elected, and you get to Austin, and you get assigned to a certain committee, and then the president of Exxon. Now there you are. You're used to making $850, $900 a month, and you're with your wife, and you walk down the alley, and you know the thing, all the municipal auditorium, and you're wearing tux, and everybody applauds, and they introduce you, and you see the governors and the senators and everybody there. And then you get to business, and then the president of Exxon comes in and invites you to lunch. Now, there you are, you've been making $950 a month, and you go to lunch, and pulls out your chair, and you sit down, get a cigarette up to your mouth, and he lights it. And then he talks to you, he knows a little bit about you. He says, well, listen, how is your wife, Mabel? And you had a little boy that was having an eye problem. Is he getting along all right? You know, and he knows all about it. See, these swats, very but that's how they work on you. And then they all say, you know, well, a poor person makes the best representative because they understand the problems of the poor. Well, but they're the first ones to fall. They're the first ones to fall. How can you possibly overcome when they say, listen, you and your wife go on to Las Vegas, stay at Caesars. Look, we'll get the company jet over here and take you all over there, and you all have a nice time for the weekend. They've been to Las Vegas before, so they come back and the wife is bragging to her social friends, you know, oh yes, my husband, he took me to Las Vegas. We stayed at Caesars, yes, we saw Elvis Presley or whatever it is. Yeah, we saw it in person. Makes her a big wheel. The husband feels proud because he did this to the wife. And then that same fella comes and asks you to vote a certain way. How are you going to refuse? You know, or the rich person. Elect a rich person, because therefore he won't give in to temptation. He's already rich. Well, that rich person's not going to vote against the interest of the person that he plays golf with, or who he and his wife play bridge with, or who they socialize with. It's all human nature. It's all idiosyncrasy. It's all personality quirks. There's no secret about it. You can fool yourself all you want to, but just don't mess with human nature. Don't go against it. I think the most effective guy is a guy who's in the middle. You know, I do. I think that's the most effective representative of a public official that you could have. These people that are, you know, that really are mad because you raise your wages, because you raise your salary. Perfect politicians, man, raising their salary. Well, let me tell you something. They earn it. My God, do they earn it. Of course, it's a volunteer outfit. They don't have to run. No one in this room or in El Paso asked me to run for the Texas Senate. I did it all on my own. It's a volunteer outfit, and I'm the first one to brag about it. But it's on my own. You all helped me, yes. But that's after I decided to run. No one encouraged me at all. But this rapport that you must have with your elected official, gentlemen, is most important to our district, and it's becoming more and more important. It's just the understanding and the backing of each other. Any other questions?
El Paso yet, but there are several in the Chicago area where you have a computer store where you can go and buy a component or a computer that you would like. And this makes the market relatively difficult to categorize. For new